Yo, what's good guys? Welcome to another Shamshir Sound video. My name is Ali Nadem. In today's video, I'm going to show you 3 ways that you can make the impact of your drop more powerful. We're going to talk about methods regarding volume, EQ, as well as stereo separation. And these tactics, the people that come to my mind are like Armin van Buuren. He mentioned this a lot. Loopers, as well as Ollie James. And this is used by many other producers as well. So I'm going to show you the 3 different methods. The first method is, of course, using volume. So it's no secret that a lot of producers, you see their waveform on SoundCloud, you download it, and you notice that a lot of times they're curving down the volume before the drop, and then boom, the drop comes in and has a lot more impact. And that's done with intention because the listener, now it's not too quiet. Of course, the build up, the rise has to have some energy. Remember what I said in previous tutorials. Think of the drop as the king and the build up is kind of like the prince. It doesn't supersede the drop, but it's not so lackluster that there's no energy because there needs to be something. But with that volume reduction, what I'm doing here is I'm going minus 2 dB and I'm using this automation clip for fruity balance. Now, a cheap way of doing it, you could try doing it on your master, and I did that in the past sometimes, but here I'd rather do it on the actual clips, and that way it's reducing the perceived loudness, it's reducing the RMS. Even if it does like approach 0 dB, there is less loudness because they've been turned down minus 2 dB. So this drop is very unorthodox. Let me just play this back for you guys.
Hey, what is it? It's that Guito, Cali,
All right, so this is 50 Cent high all the time, making a bootleg, and it has a very unorthodox thing. It's not like a build-up of or a drop at 45 seconds like the revealed modern tracks, or a drop at 1 minute. Which is what I would do. This was something that I didn't think I would make this, but I came back from a run one day and I'm like, hey, let me make this bootleg. So just made it. You know, that's how we do it, from the brain to the speakers. So when I was making the track, maybe about halfway into making the track, I was looking at like what I can do to sweeten up that drop impact. And let's talk about volume again. So volume, I'm using this automation clip here that says before drop volume. And you can see here, it's going down, boom, you know. And a lot of DJs will do this too. Like they'll play with the fader, maybe not put it all the way up, and then when the drop's coming, boom, blast that, unleash it on the crowd. And that's kind of what you're doing here, is that it's playing back, the build-up's coming, and it's getting ready, you know, but then minus 2, and then right back to 80%, which is the default value inside of Fruity Balance. So what I do with that is, like, usually I'll be like, hey, let me try 1.5 and I'll copy the value. Maybe I'll try, you know, minus 2. In this case, around minus 2 was good. It gave it a little bit extra impact because you're curving it out, and then boom, hits you hard. And I used the same automation clip for some other ones as well. Basically anything that was playing during this segment. For instance, this one I believe too. Yep. So this was like a sub impact that I made in Massive. One of them was doing the same thing. The other one just turns off right at the drop because I don't want any extra stuff during the drop. So you can use Fruity Balance for not only that, like making the drop impact more, but also telling everything to just shut up right at the drop. I do that a lot. And sometimes I'll make the automation clip. I'll be like, shut up at drop, you know what I mean? And that way I can quickly be like, okay, attach the pad to it, attach this to it. So that's one great way to improve the impact of your drop, is to reduce the volume, maybe 1.5 dB, 2 dB. Don't go too much, because then when you go too much, it's too evident. You know what I mean? You want it to be there, but not like that it's so obvious. It's hard to explain. You're going to get it right when you guys level it and get it working in your mix. So that's the nice one there. The next one is one that in the past Ollie James really inspired me to do, and that is stereo separation. So what I'm doing here is I'm using this curve going up to 100%, and this 100%, as it's going towards the drop, it's going mono, all the way mono, and then when the drop comes, boom, back to 50%. So that width comes into play, and it's like going center, 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 and then boom, opens up. And I did it very subtle. It only has a curve again of 27%. And so it's not linear, but it's kind of like comes back to normal. And the nice thing about that, like I said, is that the wide elements start to get congested. They go in the center. The wide elements, the reverb, start to move towards the center, and then everything explodes. So it's really cool. It just kind of goes in an explosion. And so experiment with that one. That one, again, you're probably going to have to do in a subtle way. Maybe you can go more extreme. It's just always going to depend on the track, and it's situational. So that what I did was I linked to these guys. You can see these guys. They're all linked to the same automation clip, and then I return back to a value 50%. You don't want to go below because then that's going to make it wide. You want to play with 50 to 100, back to 50. And the last tip, number 3, is going to be the Simplon. So I'm using a high-pass filter. And keep in mind, you can copy these or you can redo them. So I'm doing the same thing for drop 1. I'm doing the same thing for drop 2. We got the volume reduction. Drop 2, I did something a bit more interesting. I extended this volume fade out from the time that the break starts, which is right here. I get high as I want a nigga, go against me for show years ago. And the nice thing about that is that the fade is more gradual, so the listener won't perceive that they lost minus 2 dB in volume. And that volume fade out kind of has a more of an impact, if you know what I mean, because it's happening more gradual instead of just very quickly. So your ears, they adapt very fast, and so you got to capitalize on these like scientific methods to improve that impact. Now, going back to high pass, I used FabFilter Simplon because FabFilter Simplon, really nice, simple plugin. It's in the name, Simplon. And what I did was that I actually went in Pro Q3 and I found the frequency for A sharp 10, I believe, or maybe A sharp 9. You don't have to do this, but I love doing that. And it happened to be 14,917. A sharp is the key of the track, A sharp minor. And the bass note also, I think A sharp 2 was 116, maybe A sharp 3, A sharp 2. And so I set those values and I saved a preset called 50 high, and it's very gentle, 12 dB, 12 dB. And what's happening is that this is being automated. So I'm going to mute this so you can see this in action. So right before the drop, I'm talking like this one is very sharp. It's almost just like a small little bar here, you know what I mean? It's not even like the full bar, but just a little segment here, and it's creeping up and high passing a variety of stuff. I think I'm doing that for an effect string. The saw lead has a Simplon. Anything that's going on there, I put Simplon on. You could do it on the master. So if you want to do like a quick method, loopers also, he did it on his master. So whatever works for you. You could go more aggressive, like 24 dB curve, but I wanted to keep it a bit simple. I wanted to keep it a bit lightweight, and the lighter curves you do have a more natural, like subtle effect rather than being more drastic, more surgical. And so that's being automated there, the effect. And what that's going to do is just kill a little bit of that low-end energy and a little bit of that high-end crisp just before the drop. And again, that improves the impact of your drop. And again, it's so subtle. Like, it's very subtle, but those subtleties all add up to really give you this grand, fat, juicy sausage. So hope you guys like those tips. I really implement these many tracks. Sometimes I don't always do the stereo separation. I don't always do that, but volume definitely I take a look at because I've seen that just over and over. People like Bass Jackers or Jay Hardway, over and over. It's done, and it's for a good reason because it really improves the impact of your drop, and is a great way you can improve the impact in a quick way. You know what I mean? So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, remember to smash that like button. If you guys have any requests, let me know in the comment section below, and remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.